Welcome back to the Urban Elements studio. You're all welcome here. We're celebrating the month of Amore, which is like one of my favorite months. And the last video that I made was working with the Decoupage quilt from a Decoupage kit that was designed by Jason Yenter. And I really liked both the fabric line and the quilt pattern. The fabric line has a bunch of roses in it and a beautiful bird. I don't know what kind of bird it is. It could be it looks maybe like a blue jay, but it's not blue. It's not all blue anyway. But it has a lot of roses, which always reminds me of my mom's side of the family. And that's a sentimental thing for me. And so I'm going to choose sentimental quilting pattern. I've chosen 3 out of the Urban Elements catalog, and I'm going to show you those 3 in just a second. But I do have the quilt loaded on the frame already. I have the deluxe Dream Cotton batting on there. It's a nice thick batting, so it should show up the nice quilting really well. I have a very light lavender isocord 40 weight thread in both the bobbin and the top. I'm using the light lavender. I always think of lavender as the color version of gray. So pretty much any of the light colors, like I could have used pink, light blue, lavender, probably could have done light yellow also. All of those are going to blend in almost everywhere except where it's pure white. I didn't want to use white because the back has more color on it, and I would never have used black on this. But the lavender I think looks pretty good. The pattern mostly shows up on the white, and you'll see that later. But I'm going to show you the 3 that I was looking at, and I do have other like kind of Valentine quilts that I want to do, or I have started, that I'm hoping to get done before the month is out. So I'm going to try and use other of these 3 patterns later after this video. So excuse me, doesn't everybody have a cough right now? So I'm going to pull you in and let you see the 3 different patterns that I pulled out of the catalog, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why I chose the one I did. I like to always kind of do that just to show you that there are different reasons for choosing a pattern, and sometimes it has to do with the quilt, and sometimes it has less to do with quilt, has more to do with other things. So I'm going to pull you in and we'll look at that. The first one is Loopy Over You. This is only a 6-inch high pattern, and this particular quilt is 106 inches high. It's very cute, but I think I'm going to save this for a smaller quilt, and I do have one coming up that's more about 40 inches square, so I think the scale on this would be a little better for that quilt. The next one that I have is Sonnet. This was co-designed by Patricia Ritter and Valerie Smith, and the default size on this one is 11 inches. And this one is really nice also. Again, if I get a chance, I'm going to try and use this one this month. And then the final one that I have is called Echoed Hearts, and you see that this is designed by Kristin. I'm not going to try and say that Hoftyzer, and this was a 16-inch high design. And I'm not going to lie, the reason I chose this was because of its size. I have a lot to do this month, and I'm really far behind. So choosing the maximum size design I can get away with on my system is going to really help me knock this out as quick as possible. I will have fewer stops to roll up the quilt with a really large design like this. So I love the design. I've already chosen it because I love it, but because it has the largest default size, that's the one I'm going to go for. Okay, I have all the information I need to go ahead and set up my pantograph. So I'm going to design sew quilt. I'm starting new. So I'm going to erase what I have going, and I'm going to start resetting that clock. So it is a pantograph, and I'm going to enter my rectangle manually. The actual size is 89 wide, so I'll do 92. And the actual length is 106, so I'm going to do 108. And you'll see the visual representation of that size, so I'll hit finished. I know it's in my downloads because I haven't transferred it yet, and it's called Sonnet, so we're going to go to S. Nope, that's not right. It's called Echoed Hearts. Wrong one. So this is it. I'm choosing one for the even row, one for the odd row. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 rows as it is now. But I don't want these lines in between. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see a little bit better. Then I'm going to hit my gap, and I'm just going to pull these together a little bit to erase that line in between the two. And then I'm going to hit row height. What we really want is to adjust our pattern height to 16, but we have to adjust the row height to get there. So we're on row height, and again I can just swipe my finger, or I could use the calculator, but we don't really know what number is going to get us there, or we could use the plus and minus sign. I always just like to swipe my finger until I get to 16. Sometimes I'll do, okay, I'm at 15.994 or 16.007. I'm going to go up to the 16.007 and say I'm finished. And I'm going to accept a continuous transition type. That just means when it sews off the edge of the quilt during one row, it'll sew straight down off of the quilt and sew back on to complete the design of that row. So I'm happy with that. So I'm going to hit sew quilt. Now I'm going to get ready to sequence the panto. So I'm going to hit panto sequencing. I'm going to select the first panto, hit continue. I want to hit panto sequencing again, and I'm going to do left to right and right to left. So I'm going to hit alternating. I want to tie off at the end of each row. I don't want it to jump stitch or continue. So I hit tops, jump, and then I'm going to hit the whole quilt. So every other row is a slightly different shade of green, letting me know how many rows there are, and it went down to a total of 8 rows. So that tells me how many rows there are now, and that's after we made the adjustment of making it bigger and getting rid of the gap. And I know that this is just over 2 hours of sewing time, so I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'll show you what some of the patterns look like as they get going. that wraps it up for another beautiful pattern from the Urban Elements catalog. Again, this was Echoed Hearts by Kristin. Ooh, I'm not going to say it. Hoftyzer. I can't say it. So the quilt piecing pattern was the Decoupage kit. The fabric line, all of this was the Decoupage fabric. It's by Yenter. Echoed Hearts is through Urban Elements, and I love it. Love the flowers, and I really like the black and white toile, how it sets everything off. I was very happy with this. It's a great quilt for the month of February, month of Amore. As all of you know, quilting is the love of my life, so perfect. I really enjoyed making this with you. I'm glad I had your company. Remember, you're always welcome here. Thanks for stopping in. Look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, take care of yourself and take care of each other.